Hey guys, it's Erin. Happily we go here with the Creative Flow number 2. So today I wanted to do things a little bit differently, and I did not want to peek inside at all. First I wanted to start with my page, and seeing as I did not have a piece of paper, I had this manila folder sitting on my desk, and I thought let's rip it in half and make that be my journal page for the day. So I'm going to glue it down with some art glitter glue, and yes, it is brown because I put the wrong pin back in it and it was not stainless steel, and yeah, it rusted. So anyways, so I'm going to throw down some pretty washi tape, even though it ends up getting covered up, but just to give it an extra little bit of reinforcement there, and you know, some prettiness. And then I'm just gonna grab some cheapo white acrylic paint. I couldn't find my gesso, so this works in a pinch anyways, and painted it on. And my paintbrush was still dirty. It had some yellow on it from a previous project because I didn't clean my water. So I thought, you know, I'm gonna roll with it, and that made me kind of think, I wanna add some yellow into my page. Then I'm gonna take a crumpled up piece of packing paper that was again on my desk and just dab off some of that paint because there was too much of it. So after that dried, I wanted to bring in the yellow. So I took, you can't really see it, but I took the Distress Oxide, rubbed it all over my craft mat and sprayed it with some water, and then I'm just gonna dab it on there. And to begin with, it kind of looked like infant diarrhea, not gonna lie, but you know, hey, it's the first layer, so we're rolling with it. And just make sure you dry in between each layer. So now it's time to check out the flow. So I'm going to go through all these pages. I got to pick 3 things, so I thought I'll just do one at a time and see what I can come up with. So many good things. I was like, I got this yellow. What do I want to go next on top of it? And then I see this page and these blues and the purples, and it's got like her handwriting on it. And I was like, oh my God, Tiff, this is already art in itself. I don't even want to mess with it. Like, I don't want to rip it up. It was killing me to rip it up, but I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. So that's what I did. I ripped it, and then I wanted to lay it kind of in the middle, and the vibrant colors, oh my gosh, I loved it so much. I was so excited. And so I went to matte medium it down, and wouldn't you know it, I used that same dang brush to brush it on there, which still had some paint, and then it also mixed with the Distress Oxide and pulled it up. So when I decided to matte medium over the top of it, it had some of that yellow color and dulled out the color. So I was pretty cranky with myself, but you know what? I was just gonna roll with it. We're just gonna roll with it because that's what the flow is all about. So once it was dry, I ripped off the excess pieces, and I decided I wanted to add them around the page as well, just because it looked a little blah in some of the corners. So I glued those down. I'm loving this whole flow because you can use everything. And like that other half of the piece that I didn't use, I'm going to throw that back in, and I can use it in another project later on. So that's exciting to me. So now I'm just figuring out, there was that one last piece I ripped off and I wanted to put onto the corner there. And then dried it a little bit. Okay, so while I'm ripping, I was like, what am I going to do next? So, of course, on my desk, I had one of those Tim Holtz, it's like deli paper, but it has the butterflies and the music notes, and it's almost like a tissue paper, deli paper. But anyways, so it had a butterfly, and I thought that's kind of I love butterflies, so that's kind of a cool thing. So I think I'm going to add that onto the page. So I just ripped it out. And then, you know, I have still 2 more things that I have to choose from the flow. So I remembered seeing the little paint blobs that she had done on some deli paper, and I grabbed my smallest hole punch or circle punch, and I decided I wanted to circle punch out some of those really pretty purples. And I struggled. I couldn't get it under there. Then I ripped a little, and then I was like, you know what, forget it. Let's just rip the entire purple piece out, and then I can hole punch it. So I punched 4 of the circles so I could put those on the page. after I had all my pieces cut out, I tried to rearrange them on the page how I thought would look nice. And then I remembered that Tiff had stamped a whole bunch of words on a page, so I was looking through those to try and find one that I could use for my sentiment on the page. And then I found the perfect one. Trust the timing of your life, which for me right now is perfect. I just launched my online shop this last weekend. I mean, it's just been chaos. You know, sometimes you wonder what you're doing in your life is the right time, if you should wait, and you just got to go with your gut sometimes. So that sentiment to me was just perfect. Now I had to decide how I wanted to lay down that butterfly, and I just felt like it was too dark behind it because it's see-through. So I added a little titanium buff, the golden heavy body acrylics, and then used a paper towel, which actually gave it some great texture, to dab some of it off, just to make it kind of pop up a little bit more. And then I remembered I had this packing paper, like shredded paper from when I was packaging up my paints, and I was like, I totally want to use that on there. Everything that I used on this layout this week was just stuff that was spread out on my desk. So it was probably a good thing I didn't clean before I videoed the flow, because, you know, kind of made my life a little bit easier. So here I'm just kind of spreading it out a little bit because I wanted it flat. I didn't want it to stick up off of the page this time, because you know how I like my dimension. And then I'm going to dry it a little bit and then figure out, you know, where I wanted that butterfly to be. And then I'm matte mediuming that baby down. And I moved it a little lower, and in hindsight I kind of wanted it in the first place that I had it up a little higher, but it's all good. So then I'm going to matte medium down the sentiment here. And dry it up. So after it was dry, I grabbed my Stabilo Woodies. I just love these. And I just kind of colored all over and just took a wet paintbrush and mixed it all out. But you really can use your finger. And I decided to skip the paintbrush and just use my finger anyways. So I grabbed the purple, kind of like a fuchsia color, colored on and just smudged it a little bit. But you kind of have a wet finger, so that's why I sprayed it and then got my finger wet and smudged it out. It didn't seem like it was giving me the kind of color payoff that I wanted, so I tried maybe bringing out some of the silver, and that pretty much did nothing. So of course, you can't go wrong with the distress crayon in black and grunge it all out. But as soon as I finished, I was kind of mad that I did, because I didn't really want to bring out the black in the layout. I wanted to bring out more of the colors. So we're rolling with it. And then I was like, why did you do that? So I grabbed the white paint and tried to paint around it to cover it up. But black is kind of hard to cover, so just sort of made like a muted gray. And then I dried it up. Still not sure what to do, so I thought, let's just take the antique linen distress ink, stain rather, and put that around, and that pretty much did nothing as well. But still, we're rolling with it. I'm thinking as I dry, what can I do? So I took my Faber Castell big brush markers and brightened up the borders a bit. Because we have so many layers of paint, the acrylic paints, and then there's matte mediums on there, the big brush markers they smooth out effortlessly, like they blend like a dream. They're so fun. I love using them to build up color. So I'm just going to go around with a couple different colors, kind of bring out those circle pops in the middle, and then a lighter pink. And starting to feel a little bit better about things, you know, like the harsh black is gone. It's kind of a little bit more muted now. Still not sure what I'm thinking. You know, I'm not there yet. So I grabbed one of my sparkle gel pens, and it's silver, so it doesn't look like I'm doing anything, but in person, I'm drawing the line and blending it out, and it's giving it a shimmer. Because I just wanted to make that butterfly kind of pop out a little bit more. He sort of seemed lost in the background. And yeah, that wasn't do it for me either, so what to do next? When all else fails, break out the stencils. So to be lazy, I just took my stencil and then took my ink pad and I just touched it over the top of it and rubbed my finger over it. I like to do this when I want something, you know, really subtle, so it's not super noticeable and you don't get the full imprint of the stencil. You just get bits and pieces of it. So see, it's real light there. You get the dots, but not the fullness of the stencil, if that makes sense. And still not sure I'm liking it, so what am I going to do next? So then I was like, ooh, I have my fountain pen and it has this gorgeous shimmer, kind of a tealish color that would match perfect on the layout. So I kind of drew around the circles. What is that? It's late at night if you couldn't tell. So then I kind of did some doodling and it really didn't do all that much to bring it out. So I grabbed my favorite fountain pen ink ever. It's the J. Urban Emerald of Chivor, I don't even know how to say it, but it is gorgeous and it has this shimmer like nobody's business. So I painted around the butterfly and I went super sloppy because I thought, let's make some dribbles and we can dribble down. Well, I never matte medium over the top of the butterfly. So when I went to try and take the ink off, it had soaked into the tissue paper. I lost my butterfly, people. But, you know, I'm like, okay, let me think about this. We can fix this. So I decided to take a step back and regroup, and I decided to recut out one of those butterflies, glue it onto some manila paper, and now I'm going to take that same distress ink we used in the beginning, which again I will put everything I used down in the description box below, so you can check out everything, all the colors and stuff I used there. And I'm just dabbing it on with my finger to kind of make him similar to that background color, to bring out that yellow again. So I was liking where he was going, but I decided to take my gray Faber-Castell big brush marker and go around the outside edges, because sometimes when you cut things, you don't cut it always perfectly, and this kind of was a way to hide that and make the ends blend so he looked a little more, you know, put together. I'm putting his makeup on right now. So I was pretty proud of myself up to this point. I didn't freak out. You know, I usually plan out my layouts because I'm a planner. I have 5 kids, so you know you gotta plan. But sometimes you just gotta roll with it. And that's what I was doing here. So now grab my Copic white, and I'm just gonna dab some on a piece of used acetate. I save all the acetate from the kids' toys and leave it in my office. You never know when you're gonna use it, and it's perfect for stuff like this. I'm gonna take an old toothbrush of my daughter's, and I'm just gonna flick on some tiny little dots of white paint all over the page. And because waste not, want not, I flipped it over and just smudged the rest of that paint onto the layout. Now, don't forget to check out Tiffany's flow and see what she did this week. See what 3 items she used from the flow I sent her. I will put her video or her channel link down below, so check that out. And I decided to go for a little dimension after all. I took the 3 foam tape and I'm going to pop up the wings of the butterfly, just the wings. I'm going to glue down his base and make it seem like his wings are kind of coming off the page. And to add just a little bit more dimension, I'm sticking a second layer of that foam tape just on the tips of his wings, so that way they stick up just a little bit higher. a little art glitter glue in the middle, and then attempt to try and pull those babies off. And we'll get them all stuck down. And then we're going to stick them on down right over top of the other one. And make sure you push hard in the middle so that way it stays adhered to the page. And then I took a Pitt pen to draw on his antenna. And I'm thinking, he needs one more thing. So I grabbed the Sleigh Bells Lindy's Stamp Gang spray. It's a gold shimmer, and I'm gonna throw some dots of that up there. And then we're gonna call it good. So that's it, y'all. Thanks so much for watching this creative flow. Be sure to check out Tiffany's channel down below. And of course, you should subscribe to both of us because we would love to have you. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up and comment down below because seriously, your comments mean everything to us. So I hope you enjoyed the flow this week. And that's it. Here is a photo of my finished product. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.